Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining here at Unapologetic Progressive. Today in this video, we're going to talk about the stuff going on in Milwaukee, at Milwaukee Public Schools, and how it happened in some respects, what's going on, and why the Trump administration isn't doing anything to help. Now, from what I have read, what I've seen, most of the schools in Wisconsin, especially in Milwaukee, were built before 1970 when we put in regulations for how much lead can get in the environment, and about getting rid of lead around children, because lead around children is actually very detrimental to the growth and well-being of a child. It can actually, slow down the progression of hitting certain milestones. It hurts their ability to learn. It can cause all sorts of problems with their body. In fact, lead getting into the water or into the body of a child can remain in the body upwards of 20 to 25 years because it finds its way into the bones and doesn't leave. It can be there for upwards of 25 years. And if you're constantly going back to a school, for example, that has lead paint chips everywhere or water being delivered through lead pipes, you're very likely going to get these problems. It's going to be a prolonged exposure to this problem. And the Governor Evers in Wisconsin, is trying to get their state representatives and their state legislature to pass upwards of, I think it's around $300 million between getting rid of lead paint and replacing lead pipes. $100 million for lead paint, painted windows especially, and $200 million for lead pipes. But according to the legislature, that is DOA, that is not going to happen. Now, that could change, but that kind of money they're not looking to spend. Now, how does this fall back on the federal government? Now, the answer to that question is pretty simple. The CDC has an organization um, that is within the CDC that takes care of lead paint and lead poisoning for children at the CDC. Doge and the Trump administration fired a lot of these people, right? So these people were fired. So that the work that was going on since early January of this year, when people found out that there was a child that had been who got sick from lead poisoning in one of the, in Wisconsin, apparently from one of these schools, um, the CDC had started work on it, but then a lot of the people got fired, which delayed their ability to do anything. And then the Trump administration basically said, "We're not going to help you." Now you've got Senator Baldwin um, from Wisconsin saying, "Hey, we need to do something about this," and trying to convince Trump and his administration to reinstate some of the people that they fired that are lead poisoning experts at the CDC, so we can get back to work on fixing what's going on in Wisconsin. Now, honestly, from what I have seen, from what I've read, the repairs for this would be upwards closer to almost $1 billion to be able to get all the repairs done throughout the entirety of the state. Because apparently in Wisconsin, a lot of the schools were built before 1970, which I went to school in some places where the schools were built before 1970. And so I see how these can be problems, right? Because they had schools that we had to shut down and they had to rework down in Texas. Heard about a lot of those. But it was back at a time when people were not so hard up when it came to finding money to take care of children. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't appear like it's going to be a quick solution. Um, they found one school that had shut down. Let me find the article here from PBS. Where is it? Townbridge School, an elementary school that was temporarily shut down. And apparently, after that one was temporarily shut down because of lead, they found three others in the district at Milwaukee Public Schools that had to be shut down as well temporarily because the work they were doing wasn't being done in a manner that was safe for children to be around, right? Because there were paint chips, on the ground within arm's reach of the kids. Which, if you inhale it, you don't have to touch it. All you got to do is inhale it, and it can be a problem. So the work is ongoing. It's going to take a long time to get all these schools fixed. But what I don't understand is why anybody in the state legislature in Wisconsin, why anybody in the federal government would not be falling over themselves trying to get money to these districts and to these schools and to the state of Wisconsin to help fix the problem. These are children, right? These are people that are supposed to be caring about children. Isn't that what the Republicans fight about all the time? They say all the time that trans people shouldn't exist, that gay people shouldn't exist, we shouldn't be around kids, kids shouldn't notice, shouldn't read this, shouldn't see that, right? But when it comes down to actually helping the children, the conservatives don't care. Conservatives will never care about the actual plight of children. It is not something that will ever happen, and it has never happened in my lifetime. But there was a point in time when at least somebody in the a portion of the conservative movement would be like, wait a minute, these are children, right? All in all, the conservative movement's never really cared about children. They use them as a pawn. But when it comes time to actually, put their money where their mouth is, they refuse to take care of it. They don't care about the children. And that's unfortunate. Now, I hope Senator Baldwin's able to convince Congress and the Trump administration to find a way to act, because this isn't just a problem in Wisconsin. There is a problem with lead paint and lead pipes across this country, especially as these schools continue to age, right? In districts that can't afford to build new schools, this is going to be a problem. Because it took a long time. It took until 1970 before the United States realized that lead was such a problem. Before we made sure that the government was doing something to actually help. And they put regulations in place. But we didn't do anything to really help the people from before. Like there was some previous funding in previous administrations to help. But a lot of that money has dried up. A lot of it's been used, and other schools have needed help since. And the main reason I'm covering this is one of the viewers that watch my channel a lot asked me to look into it, and it's taken me a little while to look into it. But I finally got time to look into it, and it's appalling. It's absolutely repulsive to know that our government and the state government of Wisconsin and the federal government don't care enough for children to actually pass the money required to protect them from lead. And this isn't just a Trump issue, but the Trump administration has made it worse. They exacerbated the issue, made it even more of a problem by saying they're not going to help, and they're not going to do emergency help, and that they're not going to they're going to fire people at the CDC whose job it was to help take care of situations like this. There's no excuse. This doesn't, like I said, it doesn't just fall on the Trump administration, but the Trump administration is to blame for not helping now. Right? They asked for emergency assistance under Trump's watch, and Trump has said no to protecting the children. Keep that in mind as we move forward and you look at your state and local elections, whatever you have between now and 2026. Keep it in mind about how Republicans want to do things. Republicans don't want to help your children in Wisconsin. Republicans don't want to help at the federal level. And the Republican at the head of it all, Donald Trump, doesn't want to do anything to help the children. So the next time you hear a Republican saying they're doing something for the children, remind them that they've never done anything for the children. They don't care about children, they never have, and they never will. Now, for the children of Wisconsin, I hope this gets fixed, specifically for the city of Milwaukee, because clearly they have a lot of problems in Milwaukee when it comes to lead pipes in the schools and lead paint. But these are all things that need to be taken care of. Like, really, need to be taken care of. But it doesn't seem like anyone cares to do so. To the legislature and the conservatives in the Wisconsin legislature and to the liberals, get the stuff done. Call your state legislators if you need to, your state senators, your state. I don't know how your legislature works up in Wisconsin, um, but whoever you need to contact for your state legislators, you need to do that. Write letters, make phone calls, call your U.S. representatives, your U.S. senators, call everybody you have to. At the end of the day, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Anyhow, I'll see you down the road.